Oh, hey guys, Dave from Cousins Paintball. Today we're going to show you how to remove your tank from your marker safely if you don't have an on-off ASA. Stick around. Thanks for sticking around. If you like what we're doing, like, subscribe, tell your neighbors. It's cool. Thank you. One thing that's super important and super potentially dangerous in paintball is your air tank. This thing, for example, is holding 3,000 PSI. Do things wrong, bad things can happen. You can get hurt really bad. If you do things right, and it's super easy to do that, nothing bad will happen, I promise. One thing that we see occasionally, and we want to remind people how to do it, is when you're unscrewing your tank from your marker, and it doesn't have an on-off tank adapter, like like a Ether 3 would, a Mini or an Axe, just something where you screw the tank on and you don't turn it on and off. One thing you want to do is essentially turn the air off by unscrewing it a little bit before you take it all the way off. So if you just unscrew your tank about a full turn and then shoot it a couple times with no paintballs in a safe place, that'll get all the air out of the line or that's inside the marker or outside the marker even. That'll get that out. That way you can easily unscrew your tank from your gun without air coming out of here. It's not that big a deal, but it does make life easier. It also saves you a ton of tank O-rings. There's a few things you're gonna wanna look for when you do unscrew that, is that when you're unscrewing your tank, there's basically, there's two parts. There's a bunch of parts, but two parts. The part that screws into your gun is generally called the bonnet, and then you have the body of the regulator. If the bonnet starts unscrewing from the body of the regulator, that can be very dangerous, especially if these screws that are on the side of it aren't tight. So one, every once in a while, make sure those screws are really tight, and two, if you see any gap forming, you can you want to stop what you're doing, bring it to a paintball store or field, and have those guys make sure that you're being safe. This tank, for example, and we'll do a close-up view, this tank, for example, has a bit of a gap here. What'll happen is when you unscrew it, let me loosen those a little bit. This tank's obviously empty because that's the only time I would ever do this. So if these screws are loose, missing, whatever, and sometimes they're just not that tight, and there's a bunch of pressure holding that in place, if you're unscrewing that and the gap is forming there, immediately stop what you're doing because you could potentially kill yourself, your friend, your neighbor. Be very careful. So if you ever see a gap forming there, stop what you're doing. Seek help from somebody that is experienced in this situation. We're gonna get up close and show you what things look like up close. Okay, so in this situation, this tank, everything's good with it. There's no problems, so you're not gonna see anything happen. So basically when you unscrew the tank, just unscrew it, shoot it a couple times. It'll degas completely. You unscrew it, smooth, no challenges. Okay, so this tank is completely empty, but we're gonna demonstrate what you're looking to not happen or keeping an eye out for. Is when you unscrew the tank, the bottle's turning, but the bonnet, the part I have my finger on, isn't. And what's happening is this gap is forming right there. If that gets any wider, potentially the bottle itself, under pressure, could fly off, cause harm, damage, etc. So if that ever starts happening to you, immediately stop what you're doing, tighten those screws if you can, and go find somebody that's way more experienced in paintball knowledge, whether it be a local store, local field, your friend that's super knowledgeable. Bring it to them, get that thing emptied and put back together right. Be very careful, guys. Thanks for watching. This probably wasn't as fun as we usually do on our videos, but it's super important to be careful with compressed air, CO2, any of that stuff. If you have any questions, ever need help with anything paintball related, give us a call at the Deer Park store. Go to shopcousins.com. Our contact information will be there, or just find us on any social media stuff. It's going to be Cousins Paintball. Thank you. Have a great afternoon.